Brandon Davis with Davis CPA Group. Today I want to talk a little bit about personal financial statements. I oftentimes get asked, particularly with my business owner clients or my clients that have real estate withholdings and things of this nature, when it comes time to get bank financing, a lot of times the bank's going to ask for a personal financial statement. And people are like, what is a personal financial statement? I don't even know what that means. And so they come to me to help prepare one and put it together. And they say, well, you have all my information anyway, so you can just do it. Well, that's mostly true. There's some pieces and parts I don't always have. And so I want to talk through what a personal financial statement is, what it's used for, and what information goes on it. So today, again, we're talking about personal financial statements. And in my world, we just call it a PFS. And your banker's going to call it a PFS. What a personal financial statement does is it reports in a concise manner, in a snapshot in time, meaning at one date, all of your assets, your liabilities, and what your net worth is, meaning the value of your assets over all of your liabilities. And I walk through it, it'll start making sense. So a personal financial statement is a good indicator of kind of your financial strength and your financial wealth, if you will, at a point in time. And so it's kind of an indicator to say, maybe I should put one of these together once a year to see if I'm going up or down in my financial statement growth and kind of where I'm at. Because it's kind of interesting, different people have different, definitions of wealth, or someone's rich, or if they, they're millionaires or what have you. Because you can have a lot of assets, but you can have a lot of debt, which means you don't have a whole lot of net worth. Or you could have not a whole lot of assets, but no debt and a really strong net worth, meaning you might be more financially more liquid strength or more financial asset strength at a lower level of assets than maybe someone that's got a higher level of assets. And we're going to talk through what that means. So again, we're going to talk about assets first. So your assets are cash, investments, and we're kind of going to put a financial statement together as we kind of work through here. So say, we'll put values on some of these things. So say you got $10,000 in cash, and you got $100,000 in investments. And these numbers are going to be real simple. We're going to keep them all even. So you got a house that you own personally, or your personal residence. That's going to have value. So that's worth $200,000. And then you've got vehicles, cars, and they're worth $20,000. And the list could go on. Maybe you have ownership in a business. Well, that might require a valuation of that business to figure out what it's worth, because then your ownership share in that business would be an asset that you have personally. Again, I'm going to keep this simple. Cash, investments, a house, vehicles. Maybe you have a retirement account, maybe a 401k through your employer, or an IRA that you have and you've been saving a long time. Maybe you have $200,000 sitting in there. That's an asset. That's your money that's sitting in that account. You may not be able to take it out without penalty, but you can take it out. So it's an asset. So you got cash, you got investments like stocks, bonds, CDs, things of that nature, your house, your vehicles, a 401k. Again, we generally try to list these in order of liquidity. So this will actually go up here because it's more liquid than your house. Liquid means how fast can you turn it to cash, right? It takes me a little bit longer to sell my house. I probably sell my vehicle before that. So I'm not really doing, for the accountants out there that might be watching my video, don't hate on me for my ordering here. So I did call it out. So we got cash, investments, a house, vehicle, 401k. If you have coin collections or even just your household items, furniture, a lot of times you don't think about what it costs to re-outfit their house with furniture and all those things. Guns, that's something I see on Facebook. People, it's again a collection type thing. So you add up all these assets. That's where you start on your financial statement. So what we got here, we got 200,000, 400, 420. $530,000 in assets. Okay. So liability section is one that reports things that you owe money on. So for example, maybe you have some credit card debt of $10,000, and maybe you have a vehicle loan that you've almost got paid off. So let's say maybe you took a trip, that's why it's $10,000. So again, this is a snapshot in time, right? It's one spot in time. You may not always carry a $10,000 credit card balance, but the time you have to be filling this thing out, maybe it's October 31st, 2018, that's the previous month in from where we're at today, and you owe $10,000 because you just made a major purchase on that you haven't paid off yet. So you have to report at that time frame that you had $10,000 in credit card debt. Maybe you have a vehicle loan that you have on your car of $5,000, right? And then maybe your house is almost paid off. You owe, so say on your house, you owe them $100,000. You know, it's worth 200, but you know you pay it down to 100 grand. So that leaves your total liabilities at 115,000 against assets of 530. So your net worth, which is the next section of the financial statement, so your net worth amount is going to be somewhere in, let's see here, do our math right. Take your total assets minus your liabilities. So 15, so $415,000 would be your net worth in this fact pattern, right? Does that math work? Yep, I think it does. So 530 minus 115 equals 415. So that's good. That's a pretty strong net worth, you know, almost a $500,000 net worth. So, you know, some people have the definition of a millionaire is someone that has over $1 million in net worth. One thing I talked about before is you could have a whole lot of assets and a whole lot of debt and not very much net worth. And so while you've got a lot of things, you owe a lot of people. And so you may not necessarily be as wealthy as it appears, if that makes sense. Or from the standpoint of a guy like this, kind of a pretty standard situation. Guys are working a long time, been a good saver, modest house, you know, modest debts, got them paid down. You know, he's got a pretty good net worth. Because you could change these numbers around and get to a very similar answer. Say this was, you know, I guess, say you had a $1.2 million and that's what your house was worth. And so it just add $1 million here and say but your loan amount was $1.1 million. Well, so I've got $1,530,000 in assets, but my house, I still owe $1.1 million on my house because it's very highly leveraged. And so I'm in the same situation where I still have only the same net worth of $415,000. So effectively, two individuals, one with $1 million plus home and one with a modest $200,000 home, and they have the same net worth and more or less the same liquidity in the sense that their other liquid assets would be the same, but they'd still have $1 million plus in assets. Just kind of interesting thing to think about. Again, this is used by banks and other lending institutions, or even just individuals, to kind of get a measure of where they're at financially. You know, if you have a negative net worth, meaning you have more debts than you have liability or than you have assets, that's a problem because then you're having a hard time keeping up to cover your debts because you either have to have a strong amount of earnings or cash flow coming in to help get you out of the situation, but you're in a situation where you're not really financially solvent at that point. And so that's something to think about. So that's what a personal financial statement is. It's basically reporting all of your assets, all of your liabilities, subtracting the assets from your liabilities from your assets to calculate what's called your net worth. Happy to go over that in more detail or help you complete one of those if you ever wanted to at our firm, Davis CPA Group. But thanks for tuning in.